The Biden administration is blaming COVID-19 for its decision to rescind a permit for a decades-long Memorial Day tradition for our veterans. The group, AMVETS, has been using the Pentagon's parking lot to gather thousands of motorcyclists for the Rolling to Remember rally for more than 30 years. The Pentagon said in a statement now, if COVID-19 conditions permit, the department would gladly consider supporting a future event request from AMVETS, potentially as soon as this Labor Day weekend, end quote. Joining me now, two American military veterans, the National Executive Director for AMVETS, Joe Chinelli, and Florida Congressman Brian Mast, who lost his legs in Afghanistan. And we say that because we point out, gentlemen, first of all, your service and thank you. And Congressman Mast, it's a reminder that sacrifice comes with service. And so I want to come to you first, Congressman, to talk about how this happens. They held it last year. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, they just amended it a bit. How did it get taken off the books completely by this administration?
Politics, in my opinion. I think it boils down to that quite simply. If you look at the facts that BLM can get a riot permit in Washington, D.C. with COVID going on at the exact same time, how do you not allow veterans into the parking lot, the 70-acre parking lot of the Pentagon in this 20-year-plus tradition? Total politics, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm glad you said parking lot a couple of times, because what you're saying is outside. And the CDC says that we don't need masks outside if you're fully vaccinated. So, Joe, is there a way to communicate with people who might participate? And I'm certain that your answer will be yes. I'm just wondering how you make it happen. You know, have you been fully vaccinated? Do you need help doing that? I mean, we serve our vets with all our hearts in America. What do we do to get them into that outdoor event?
Yes, Harris. Thanks for continuing to shine a spotlight on this important event. I want to be real clear off the bat, we will have a demonstration on May 30th in Washington, D.C. We're not going to be able to stage where this demonstration has staged for decades, but we will have a central staging area in the district. It will be safe. It'll be coordinated. We have a lot of protocols in place to make sure that the spread of COVID doesn't happen there. And we are working with every other agency. And there are a lot of agencies that are responsible for that region. And we're working with all of those. The Pentagon was the only one that wouldn't work with us.
So can you say where you're going to have it yet? Do you have enough of your assets in place to make that announcement? And, you know, you mentioned decades that this has gone on at the Pentagon and its parking lot. So are you anticipating a difference this year?
We're actually seeing tremendous interest. We think that participation is going to be up this year. That's the biggest difference we're seeing right now. As far as the location itself, we have a plan B, which is RFK Stadium, which used to house a NFL team. And if the District of Columbia doesn't provide a waiver, which is what we're waiting now to be able to have a gathering larger than 500 people, then as a First Amendment event, we'll be staging on the public streets with coordination and the assistance of law enforcement.
Well, thank you for persisting in all of this. And I can't imagine what the workload must be to try to pull into place now an event that's getting even more response. You might have imagined that would happen, I would guess, right, Joe? I mean, people really want to show how much they love our military veterans. Congressman Mast, I come back to you. You mentioned politics creeping in. It seems like it always does. Why here? It would seem that the President of the United States, not that this necessarily made it to his desk, maybe it didn't, you know, he has a connection, a familial connection through a child who served. It would seem like we would all be on the same page as Americans about an event like this. Not so on Capitol Hill?
Not so on Capitol Hill. There are groups that get priority no matter what the circumstances, like BLM, and those that don't. And our veterans are one of those groups that are not getting that priority. And you can see that in this. And the Pentagon's forgotten an important thing. They still work for we the people. They're the Pentagon. They have serious work to do, but they need to be responsible to we the people, especially we the people that went out there and defended this country. And that's not happening. I'm still hopeful that they can change their mind.
Congressman Mast, thank you. And Joe Chinelli, we look forward to that event, however it comes together. And give us that information whenever you can. Further it. We'll put it on our social pages to make sure Americans know where and when with that event for our American veterans. Thank you, gentlemen.